How you doing, James?
Really well, man. Thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you. I love this. I love connecting from all around the world. And I first got introduced to you from Adam Axford.
My
He's like,
mentor,
this guy, like he's like your long lost brother, and I'm like, no, it's like looking in a mirror. It's a split mirror.
there's a lot of hair going on, man. There's a lot of hair going on.
Yeah, we just have it connected to your hair and my hair. And I just cut my hair too, probably a few months ago. Keep it
Right,
growing.
this cut. This is now below nipple line, and that's not okay. Like for
Awesome. Yes.
a heavy metal band or some Norwegian death metal, that you can't have this
Yeah.
too much. Yeah, take it up a little bit. Yeah.
No, keep it growing. Keep it growing. Well, this is awesome to finally meet you through this virtual world and get connected. That's why I've been doing these live streams. It's been an awesome time to just get acquainted and then actually reconnected and really get
Yeah.
to see how we're doing in the world nowadays, and especially in these in-between times where we've got a lot more time.
Sure, sure,
Time is on
sure.
our side.
Yeah.
And so let's dive into it. Would you give me like a little history on how you got into magic and mentalism, where it all began?
Sure, yeah. So it was when I went traveling for the very first time. I went, this was in 2011. I left in February 2011. I went to Australia, then I went to New Zealand, then I went to Southeast Asia and ended up just falling in love with Van Vienne in Laos in Southeast Asia. And I went back for a second season there that winter, over December and January. And that's when I met Adam Axford. We were both working at the bar together. And I loved his magic. Obviously, it was beautiful, and I loved watching it. But I just got along. So we got along so well. We only had 5 days together because as I was arriving at the bar, he was leaving. But yeah, when I got back to England, I was just so bored. I had nothing to do. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna start learning some magic. And then he came back a month later and was like, "Oh, bro, you're learning magic. That's sick." So he started teaching me more and more. We'd go to bars, clubs together, and it's just been snowballing from then, really. Yeah, it's just that one chance encounter with Adam absolutely changed my life. It was quite extraordinary, and
Wow.
yeah, I suddenly became absolutely obsessed with it. As a kid, you love magic, obviously. Who doesn't? And I kind of always appreciated magicians, and when you see them on TV, it's awesome. But then seeing Adam in real life and seeing what he does and seeing the reactions you can get with people and that kind of that energy that people give off and that reciprocation you get, it's extraordinary. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So then it just became a hobby. And when you first start learning, your double lifts and stuff, and it's all really exciting, and then you start showing people stuff, and then then I just started getting really, really hungry for it. I really did.
You got
Yeah.
bit by the magic bug, as they like to say. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because once you start learning something, and then you can do it. When you start building your first ambitious, and then you can start doing it, and then you're like, I can do this. I can do this. What else? And then you start learning more and more and more, and yeah, it's super exciting. I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked on it.
Yeah, it's truly an adrenaline rush. Once you get hooked into it, you're just like, wow. And it's one of the few arts that gives you that instant like gratification in a way. I mean, I was always into painting and art and music, but people could look at a painting and it's like, cool, that's it, right?
Yeah.
But with magic and mentalism, it's like it's such a deeper connection, and it's like right there, and it's just like, wait, what just happened? How? You know?
Absolutely, it's incredibly unique. If you're a filmmaker, you can spend over a year making a movie, and then people go and see it on the screen. They go and watch it, and like, yeah, that was awesome, and they walk out, and you're like,
Right.
it's such an extraordinary medium to do magic when you learn something, and then suddenly you have this instant. You're absolutely right. It's this instant thing of the first time you show it to someone, they can absolutely lose their mind, and
Yeah.
it's extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. There's no other medium I can really think of where you're right. You get that instant gratification from something that you've been learning for, a few days, a week, a month. Yeah, I love it. I
And
absolutely love
so how old were you when you first when you started to like, all right, I'm gonna take this as a hobby and I'm really into it, and then how old were you around that time?
it. Came late, bro. I was 29 when I met Adam. Yeah, I was
Oh wow.
20.
And you
So
weren't doing any magic before then?
no, not at all.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, it looks
Yeah.
like I could tell. I've seen a few of your videos. It looks like you've been doing it for like 20 years, for all I know. So that's good.
And I appreciate. Yeah, no, it's been, yeah. I met Adam when I was 29, in Van Vienne, and it's been going from there. I'm 37 now, so it's been about 8 years that I've been
That's
doing that.
awesome, man. Well,
But
great work. I love to see the progress. And you know, I think also it's interesting to see the different dynamics between magicians that start off maybe when they're like 8-year-old and then they go through it, and then people that start like in their mid-20s or late 20s or even in their early 30s.
yeah,
And you can still see them kind of up to par with each other.
yeah,
It's a different approach and dynamic. I mean, even like Darren Brown, for instance, is a great example. Like he got into it a little later, and he
yeah,
talks about how that was a blessing because he wasn't this magic kid growing up, And I think, and I've seen kind of how sometimes could be the curse, because then you're like in magic your whole life and you don't really experience life as it should be as yourself, because you got to find yourself and portray yourself as even an entertainer. And
that,
growing up around here in LA, I see a lot of magicians, obviously, from the Magic Castle in the LA area. And you see a lot like prodigies, but then there's this connection that they're missing. They're missing that whole essence of being themselves. And they
yep,
have this whole other act.
yeah,
And
sure,
sometimes they're like, okay, these guys are really good and like got trained and professionally, classically trained where they understand it, like a martial artist. But in some cases, they kind of lose that essence, and they got to kind of find themselves after being in the magic for like 20 years, and they're like, wow, I totally lost myself in the magic that I forgot who I was.
yeah,
So to
yeah,
know who you are before you're into magic is, I think, a better approach, because then you can start creating your own and you find your own way of doing it. And I
yeah.
can see that in your magic and your mentalism.
That's very kind, and I absolutely agree, because if I hadn't have built my, for lack of a better word, personality over the last 20 odd years, then yeah, if I would have been a magician from the age of 6, I would have no bearing on the kind of magician I
That'd
am
be
now.
so different,
Yeah, if you're so used to being the magician from being a child, and I have thought about it sometimes, what kind of magic would I be doing now? What kind of shows would I be doing now if I did take it up when I was 6? But I'm so grateful that I took it up late and I had all those years of doing other things. I worked in the movie industry for like 7 years in London, working on movie sets. And that's a lot of people coordinating and people skills and getting people to do things like, oh, can you go and do this? Can you go and do that? And so that kind of people skills, I think, really helped shape the kind of magician that I really wanted to be. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Darren got into it when he was at university, didn't he? That's when he decided that he was going to break away and become a magician rather than
Yeah,
becoming a
because he was
lawyer.
like his mid-20s, and yeah.
Yeah,
So it's never too late. I mean, a lot of people, even I started when I was like 19, so, and I thought I was a little too late, and that's only because when I joined the Magic Castle as a junior member, and I saw all these prodigy kids, and I was like, oh, good luck. But
yeah,
then I realized I have a different dynamic to it. So I kind of found myself in a way, and I was, kind of coming to that point into my 20s, kind of getting to know who I was. And
yeah,
so I had a different approach. And I think that just shows you it doesn't really matter what time you get in. I mean, Eugene Berger, David Berglis, these guys got it in a lot later in the game, and these guys are pros that we look up to and idols in magic.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it really doesn't matter. But I do also believe in what we were just talking about, how to truly find yourself. I think in any great art is, how do you be yourself? Every great artist talks about that. To be yourself is the most difficult thing, which seems like it shouldn't be.
yeah,
But in a way it is, to portray yourself without any other influences, or to find that deeper meaning that you want to portray.
yeah.
And yeah,
It's good. It's good to attach magic to a personality that's already there, rather than cultivate your personality through magic. Because when you don't have the magic, what personalities do you?
right.
So I think we did well coming into it late. I think it's a different kind of angle to take. That's not taking anything away from the people that were the child magicians. People like Ryan Tricks. He's been into it since he was like 5 years old, and like, look at him now. I mean, it's just extraordinary what he's doing. So yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, and it's good to take breaks. Maybe some people get so dwelled into the magic that, because I have friends, I've been doing it since they're like 8, or, when they're kids, and then get into it. And typically I hear a lot of these stories, especially reaching out to all these magicians around the world, the ones that started earlier, they sometimes take a little break. Like, oh, I stopped after high school. You know, I took like 4 years off, and then I got back into it. Or I took it off in elementary school, and then I got back into middle school and high school. Because in that time, you're kind of realizing who you are without the magic, which I think is a good thing to look back on. Sure. And even as myself, even nowadays, like I'm not obviously doing much magic, but so there's a lot of self-reflection in this time. And so we're like really diving deep into who we are and what we want to create and put out in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And being the kind of performer that you want to perform, and like selecting the kind of magic you want to do. There's some magic that I see magicians doing, and I'm like, wow, that is so insanely impressive. It's not something I will ever do. You know, do you ever find that when you watch some magicians?
Yeah.
So cool, and I will never ever learn that trick. Like, it's just not my style, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of like for me with Rubik's cubes. Like I could love it and I'll watch it, but I'm not gonna do that.
Same. I was saying this to Adam. Like, I chat to Adam pretty much every single day, and I've said this to him. He loves the Rubik's cubes, and I'm like, mate, it's so cool. I'll never do it.
Well, you and I are alike in that aspect for sure. Yeah, because I have a lot of friends that are really into it. I mean, especially in the past like 5 years, there's been a huge uproar in Rubik's cube magic. And my friend Derek Hubb, he's amazing. He has these great routines with it. And he'll start like wanting to like tip the secret. I'm like, don't even tell me. Like, and for me, it's like it's already complex. Like, I don't even care, and I just don't want to know because I want to keep the magic for myself.
Exactly.
And that's another thing as a magician. Many magicians, it's okay to not know everything and just to keep that magic. Because how are you gonna perform magic if you don't really know what that feeling is like? You know, so it's always good to experience that in many different ways.
Absolutely. And how lovely is it when you see a trick and you don't know how it's done, and it's like, you're exactly right. You're like, no, I don't even want to know. I'm not even gonna try and work it out. And just like, because I love that feeling.
Yeah. That's why we do it.
How? I love watching Darren Brown still. Darren Brown is one magician who I mean, I've been doing magnetism for about 2 or 3 years now, and he still absolutely blows my mind. And I love
that guy is insane, crazy. Darren Brown's like one of the masters out there. I mean,
100%.
Nothing compares to. I mean, he'll always be remembered.
Oh yeah. I mean, just the amount of stuff that he puts out as well. This is what I love. Like David Blaine is incredible, but he puts out a special like roughly every 4 years. Whereas Darren Brown, he's done like 8 stage shows.
He's done it all.
The number of TV shows he does with the the Apocalypse and all of those ones as well. The Push, Sacrifice, all of that. I mean, he's put out so much material. I mean, such an incredible variety as well. It's mind blowing. Yeah,
just looking at the material he's done, it seems it's like magic. It's like so much work.
Yeah.
Within that little time, and it's like, wow, he's able to do it, and it's really inspiring. So you see someone like that, like if this guy's doing it, then I have a chance, you know.
Yeah.
But he's making us look bad, man. This guy just does everything. I mean, I remember first seeing him and first diving into it, probably like, I guess like, I don't know, for me it was like 7-8 years ago when I got introduced to Darren Brown. And I was like, what does this guy not do? He does everything.
Yeah, everything.
He's still doing everything. It's awesome.
And just with so much personality behind it as well. And yeah, I love him. And the people he collaborates with, like Andy Nyman, I love Andy Nyman. The stuff that Andy Nyman out is so smart. So having those guys collaborate in the early years was just wonderful.
Yeah, Devil's Picture Book, yeah.
Yeah, how you doing, Grant? You're right, mate. Devil's Picture Book. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Yeah, the book, he has Darren does one trick called, I think it's Zamil's Rose. Grant, you can probably correct me. It's something like, it begins with Ed, something Rose. And I watched the picture book and I realized that my sleight of hand, I thought my sleight of hand was up to a certain level. I knew nothing. I knew nothing. When you watch Darren Brown's sleight of hand, it's
right.
Like, yeah, I mean,
I know. Yeah, you just seeing his card work too in the beginning. You're like, how is it? This guy's that good, and then what? And he does all this other stuff. It just like almost puts us to shame. We're like, man, yeah, that rose trick is amazing too.
His card magic is incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. But he just doesn't do it anymore. You know,
right? It's like a little phase that he just put behind you, whatever.
Yeah.
No, he's got so much line of work. It's amazing to look back on and still to study on. So that actually reminds me of a question I like to ask every magician. Like, what was the first experience in magic before you got into magic or mentalism? Like, what was the first experience? And that doesn't have to be necessarily magic. Maybe it could have been a great show, like musician.
Okay, so the very first thing I remember seeing of magic was Paul Daniels on
Paul
English.
Daniels. Ah,
When I was a kid, I can't have been more than 6 or 7 years old, and I saw him do a trick where there was these big blocks that were set up like dominoes, and they were due to knock something. They were due to like flatten a little wooden shed that he was like chained up in, and then yeah, all these people came along, and then everyone ran away, and the dominoes flattened, and he was on the top of a crane, and I was like, that is, as a 6 or 7 year old, you're like, that is unbelievable, and yeah, that was the first bit of magic I ever remember seeing. 7 years, when I was about 7 years old. And then a mere 22 years later, I met Adam and decided to become a magician.
yeah, isn't that wild? I always think about that too. Like, for me, I didn't have much experience in magic prior, and then I try to always remember seeing magic first. And it's always like when I was a kid, whether it was actually at a school assembly. I remember seeing like classic, linking rings. And for me, it never clicked. But I always thought like that stuff is just untouchable and impossible. I would never imagine getting into that realm or field.
Yeah.
And then when it came to me, I was like, oh, no, it's here. We could get to it. We can learn. We can pick up the books and talk to other magicians. They aren't untouchable.
Yeah. When so what was the first thing? Do you remember the first thing, like the first trick you learned?
First trick I learned, honestly, it was the back palm. Yeah, it was the back palm.
Back palm, right?
Back palm in a card. I mean, I learned magic because I was dressing up as the Joker one year back in 2008, right when like The Dark Knight came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go to comic conventions a lot because I grew up in a comic book store with my dad. And I'm like, oh, it'd be cool. And I would dress up. I would start like doing some cosplay, and I was dressing up as the Joker one year, and I thought it'd be cool to learn a card trick, and get more into character because I had the squirting flower and all the gags and buzzers and stuff. And I'm like, well, what about something with cards?
Mm-hmm.
And I met this guy that taught magic. He taught magic, martial arts, and music. It was like called the 3M Studios. Cool. And he gave out one free month for each class. So I'm like, I'll try it out. Learn magic for free for 1 month. What's that? So the first thing was, how to vanish a card and to bring it back.
Right.
And I just learned that in the very beginning, and then it kind of took my interest. I started staying in with the class, learning it was that, and then the French drop was like the second thing I learned. And this guy was mostly like a hobbyist, and so he had a bunch of collections of magic. So when I would walk in there, I would just see all this stuff. I'm like, what is this? Like, what? He had the arm chopper, the zombie ball, and like all the classics too, the linking rings. And it started to bring up the memories that I first remembered seeing a magician, but I felt like still like kind of untouchable. Like, I don't know how to get to that point.
Right.
But in that moment, that was like the first stepping stone. Because then I started doing a lot of research online, and then going to the library, Mark Wilson's magic book, like that was like the first like Bible to me. And then I just kept on going, it just never stopped and went down the rabbit hole. And it was just like you. It was just something I really loved. I wasn't seeing any like career in it until like 5 years later. I was thinking about it. And then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can make a living doing this.
Yeah, Adam actually had to kind of persuade me into turning professional, because I thought I would lose the love for it. I thought if I was being paid for it, I wouldn't love it as much. It seems like a strange logic, but I thought it's a strange thing when you're asked to put a value on your time for you have and for a skill that you have. And yeah, a couple of years ago, I only took professional 2 years ago. Yeah, and Adam kind of persuaded me into it. And now of course, I'm so happy that he did.
A good thing he did. I mean, if anybody, that would be a great guy to persuade you into it. I love Adam. I love his magic, mentalism.
He's extraordinary. Have you had him on this?
Yeah, he was one of the first guys on. Probably right like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I feel like this has been going on for a while now. It's been great. It's given me a sense of accomplishment to do something every day and to connect, like I said.
Yeah.
And with you, like we've been like Instagram friends, but not really knowing who we are, and now we're getting to that moment, which I love. So this has just been a good time to connect and see how we're dealing in these interesting times. How
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you coping? What have you been doing to stay
So,
busy or chilling?
conversation a few times. I'm incredibly grateful that I have a creative outlet in times like this. When I'm rather than just sitting in my room all day long, like watching movies, I can practice stuff. So I've been learning Rick Lax's new moniker
Oh, nice.
because so I have the memory of a drunk 3-year-old. It's so bad. I went through.
Like when you try to remember the names, recall them back, sort of thing.
Yeah, I went through a very, very, very heavy party phase for a very, very, very long time, and I have no brain left. But Rick Lax's new moniker is actually amazing, and I've very, very nearly got it down. Very, very nearly got it down now. I can do cards to numbers, numbers to cards. I'm learning kind of the other way around now.
Right. That's something I've been wanting to get into too. Like, 'cause
Oh,
I
dude.
actually have it, like mnemonica, but I haven't put in the work yet.
Yeah.
This is a great time to do it. So I'm kind of right behind you on that. I'm like, yeah, this is the
Now,
time to really start practicing your memory.
yeah, yeah. Now is the time to learn that kind of stuff. Yeah, Adam said to me a couple of days ago, like, man, if we don't learn the new moniker during this quarantine time, we're really wasting our time. So it's great that we both learn this stuff together at the
Yeah,
same. I started getting into mentalism at roughly the same time.
right.
Because
And for me, I'm getting back into it. I mean, when I first got into magic, I was really into mentalism and like sideshow bizarre magic. And then in the beginning, I took it a little too serious, and my character was a little serious. So I felt like it was harder of a niche, so that it became more variety magic.
Mhm.
But now I'm coming back into mentalism, and I think, especially in my past year, I just kind of had like a whole spiritual like awakening and going towards this path, and I feel like mentalism just aligns with that so much more.
Mhm.
And now I'm excited. I actually gave away a lot of my mentalism books, and now I'm buying them back again. My 13 steps and all
Right, right.
that. And now I'm just excited to get back into it and to take it, seriously again.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, there's it's another level. It really is another level. When you're doing card magic, it's very pretty and it looks lovely, and you can get some wonderful reactions. But when you're telling people the name of their best mate or their star sign or their pet's name or something, it's yeah, I love it. I
yeah, it
really, really.
definitely goes to a deeper level, and people feel that. And I think it's funny when I talk to magicians about this. They're more into the magic because it's like the visual aspect,
Mhm.
but with mentalism, it's on such a deeper emotional aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think just because they don't see like the visual parts of the mentalism, because it's
Mhm.
mostly like, in the mind. I mean, but magic always happens in the mind anyway. But
Yeah,
you see the reactions from mentalism, to me, I see it just stronger and deeper because you have
yeah,
that hook. It's a relative or someone they love, or, that has that deeper hook. So yeah,
yeah.
I've always had mad respect for it.
You create a very deep connection with people very, very quickly with mentalism. I've really found that, and I've also found that a lot of sorry, not a lot. I had a few people ask me after I've done something where I've revealed their mother's name or something like that about their family. They're like, "Wow, can you please give me a reading of my life?" Like tell me. And I feel sorry. I'm so sorry, but I can't do that. I'm not gonna. That would be kind of irresponsible of me because I would be guessing. You know.
Right. I know that's a tough subject too when that happens. I mean, I've been in that scenario where I'll do some really strong, magic and mentalism,
Hmm.
and maybe I'll just do mentalism effects. So it seems more like I'm this kind of mind reader or oracle type character because they may not know what I'm really doing, so they just believe that. And I'm sure you've had situations where that's happened. I remember working in a bar, and this guy was just following me around. He was just loving the magic, but he was also loving the moments where, like, because I shared a personal mind reading effect with him.
Hmm.
And after that, he was just begging me to talk to his brother who like overdosed like a week ago, and he was just breaking down his whole life scenario to me, and I'm like, and I just felt like, oh man, this is tough, and you know, I have to tell him the truth. Like I don't know, and I just spent my time with him because in that moment I felt like this guy needs someone right now, so I'm gonna spend time with him and just be a really good friend. But
Good for you.
it's just to have that responsibility to like open that door and make them believers in that aspect. And then
Yeah.
also kind of say like, hey, this is an entertainment. I'm really glad it touched you on such a deep level, but I can't bring your brother back from the dead, you know, and talk to him.
Um,
Have you
no,
had any interesting stories like that? I'm sure you had some
oh,
stuff, some.
where people go very, very deep.
Where they take it for real, like you are a mind reader. You can maybe talk to the dead, or just ask for some impossibility that's like far from what we actually do from the illusion. Or
Yeah. Well, it's when you do something and then they go, tell, what's my brother's name? What's my mum's name?
yeah,
They're
yeah,
absolute oracle, and you know everything. You know, what's the football score going to be at the weekend? You're like,
yeah. What am I thinking right now?
yeah, I know. Like, yeah, that's a big one as well. What do you think? Okay? So my answer to that is, when people say, "What am I thinking right now?" I say the next word out of your mouth is going to be no, and they go, "No,"
Yeah.
because that's their automatic thing. That's always my go-to when it comes to that question. You know, what am I thinking about? Mm.
Yeah, that's classic. And actually,
Yeah.
now let's get into. So you love traveling, and I love traveling too. I've only
Uh,
been traveling in the States. I'm trying to get out of the country, but that's gonna have to wait a little longer. But
oh,
what do you
yeah.
find your approach coming into different cultures with magic or mentalism? Do you have an approach for different people?
Uh,
How do you fill them out? You know?
so I go, yeah, because I did Australia, New Zealand, but I wasn't a magician then. And then I did Asia. And then I went and lived in Nicaragua for a year and a half. And I loved that. And doing magic for the locals there, I really, really loved it. But obviously, I was only doing card magic back at this point. But just learning the magic in Spanish and then doing magic for the locals, you can cause a real stir when you go, like there's a little town called Laquin in Guatemala, and I was there for like 3 days. And I was in a little taco place, and I was just doing some magic for the waitresses and stuff. And all of a sudden, they're running out and they're getting their friends and they're bringing them in because they've never seen anything like this before, you know, in real life. And then suddenly, it's like everywhere you go in town, you'll feel like people are running up to you and asking you, so, you know, show me a trick, show me a trick, show me a trick. And I love that, of course. But yeah, I feel like I've been mobbed a lot more in little towns in Central America. They just got so incredibly excited about it, and I love that. I would perform in little towns in Guatemala, you know, any day of the week. Just when you have these, you know, Guatemalan kids and families who come up and they're so excited to see you, and they're so excited for you to show them something cool. And I love that. I'll never ever get bored of that. Yeah, the traveler life is something that I really embraced for a good 8 years. Left in February 2011, 11th of February 2011. Yeah,
Wow.
my 8-year anniversary this February.
I know it really does make you excited about what you do and it never makes you feel you take it for granted because you go to another place that they've never seen stuff like that. And so you're like, wow, I've got a very special gift that I could be sharing with these.
Yeah, you don't realize quite how special it is when you do it like that's the other thing what we were saying earlier. Like if you do magic from when you're 6 years old, you may not realize quite how special it is. Like so when you're older, you appreciate kind of what it is. It is a gift, and it's something that you work incredibly hard for. But the rewards are so spectacular. That's what makes you want to keep on going. You know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good reinsurance, and it just gets you excited. It ignites that spark. I mean, I find that just in the States traveling around, it's like each state has their own little culture, but I almost take it for granted. Like, oh, they've probably seen magic, but a lot of people never see magic. You know, that's just an illusion in my head because I'm always magic, 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 right?
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
you get there, you're like, wow, no, this is a really special thing I should be sharing.
Yeah.
And
When you
how
travel
about
around, do you like go by car and
yeah,
travel around?
I travel in an RV and go around
So
all around. I've been mostly all around. Besides the East Coast and Northeast, like although I want to go up to like New York and Maine. Those are the only places in the states I haven't really gotten to yet. But from San Diego, California, all the way up to Washington, Seattle, even and I went to Canada last year. I was hoping to do that same trip this year for summer, but I
mm,
guess not this summer. I don't know.
yeah, bro. It's one thing that I've said to myself I will do at some point in my life is I'll drive from east to west or west to east. I don't care, and
Yeah,
I'll just road trip across America. Yeah, it's
fun.
something.
Yeah, definitely do it. Once this
Yeah.
all clears up, it's so much fun. And
Which,
yeah, I'm sure you found this out too within traveling wherever you go. There's always
mhm.
those people that say you shouldn't go there because it's so and so, and those people are like that, blah 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 blah.
Of
And then you
course.
go to that place that they're talking about, and then
Yeah.
those people are nice, welcoming, kind people taking you in, and
Hmm.
then there's always someone else that says that same thing. But don't go there because there's people that are so and so, blah 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 blah. And then you go to that place and it's the same thing. And it's like, wow, man, it's really all the same. It's different, like culturally, but we're really all the same in just different ways.
That is absolutely true. That's absolutely bang on. And yeah, there's this thing. It's almost like town to town or state to state, and it's the same in England. It's the same in Spain. It's like don't go to that town. They're awful over there, you know. And then you go there, and everyone's lovely, and everyone takes you in and treats you with a lot of respect. I found in Mexico is. Have you been down to Mexico? Have you left the States yet?
I have, but I haven't actually gotten to perform much or spend much time to connect.
Uh, Spectacular, like absolutely spectacular. Yeah, and every town you go to, it's just new experiences, new people, and everyone is so lovely, like, so sweet, so excited to see you. Yeah, it's a really really special country. I'm so jealous you're right next to it.
I know I can't wait. I can't wait to get out, man.
Yeah,
What's your favorite place you've been to since you traveled?
I would have to say Van Vienne in
Yeah.
Laos. Yeah, that's where everything changed. That's yeah, it's a really really special place. It's a little bit more shut down than it was when Adam and I were there in 2011. That's when it just was going off. You know, we could you could do whatever you wanted. You wake up every morning and like, right, how much fun are we going to have today? What are we going to do today? It's just about being as naughty as possible and just entertaining people in the bar. And yeah, that was as much fun as I've ever had. And Nicaragua as well. Nicaragua has a piece of my heart.
Oh,
I
I'd love to check that out, man.
so I I was in Barcelona for the summer, and then I was going to go for a 3 month trip to Central America from the 12th of November to 6th of February. That was my 3 month trip, and I planned to save €5,000 over that summer, so to have like 3 months spending money in Central America. And I quit my job at the end of August, and then when I got to the airport in November, this was about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was going to go for my 3 month trip, I went to the airport. I had my ticket, my return ticket, I had my passport, and I had £273 in my bank account. That was all the money I had. And I was at the airport going like, oh man, should I get on this plane? Like, I've continent before. I don't know anyone there. I've got 3 months and I have £273 to my name. And I was like, fuck it, let's do this. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to have stories, I'm going to have adventures. And so I got on the plane and I went and I ended up, I flew to Costa Rica, went straight to Nicaragua, and then I ended up staying in Nicaragua for a year and a half, having
Wow.
the time running pub crawls and boat parties on the Pacific and working for this fabulous Canadian bar. And just, yeah, it's that's what traveling is all about. It's just about, yeah, let's go and do that. Yeah, let's go and do that. Like, don't say no to anything. Do it, do it, do it.
Do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Just do it. Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I've been in those situations where I'm like, I don't have much. I have just enough to get there, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And you don't know maybe where you're going to end up. And you're like, okay. But then you just have that kind of unfathomable faith that it's going to work out. And it usually does. And people like traveling people. I'm sure you find that out when they see like, oh, where you from? Oh, let me show you. And they want to show you around into their city and, meet their friends. And it just gets better and better.
Yeah, the traveling community is so wonderful, like really, really wonderful. And it's very, very small. I've bumped into people in Thailand that I was traveling with in Australia, and in Nicaragua, people that I work with in Ban Bien, and
That's
it's
cool. Yeah.
a small community, yeah. But everyone's very much on a similar vibe when it comes to traveling. Everyone's there just to explore new places, appreciate new cultures, meet cool, fun people, party, drink. Yeah, traveler lifestyle's crazy, but I love it. I got absolutely hooked on it. My 1 8 month trip extended to 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I know. I can't. I'm sure everyone's itching to get back out wherever just to go across
Yeah.
the street now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, like
Yeah.
someone said, hold on. Oops. Someone had a question. So, would you two consider doing a world tour together? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We just said say yes to everything.
Exactly, yes. It's that Jim Carrey film, Yes Man. It's so true. It's
Yes,
like, yeah.
man. Yeah, I love that movie.
If you're like after this lockdown, like, bro, do you want to come and like we'll just travel around the States and we'll do magic? Like, yes. Like, yeah, man. Of course.
I
Of
mean, I
course.
think that's one of the main things we definitely have in common. I mean, the two omens I live by is the travel while you're young, as healthy as you can, and to do what you love. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Traveling or loving what we do.
Yeah. And magic does get you like a little bit further when it comes to traveling, and
It opens up doors.
that's exactly it. Yeah, that's the expression I was trying to get out. Yeah, it opens up doors that may be more difficult to be closed normally. So yeah, being a magician and traveling is it's a fabulous experience. Yeah.
Now, do you find a moment like when you are out going about meeting people and people are bringing you to their homes or wherever they're at or different parties, and then you're kind of that guy, you're kind of that like they're kind of using you in a way as this is my special new friend that's got a great gift,
Yeah.
and you come across some people that are like, who is this like new guy coming into our lives sort of thing. Have you ever had some difficulties going through those doors,
Yes, absolutely. So on one of my very last filming jobs, I was in a place called the Isle of Skye, which is a beautiful, beautiful island in the very Scotland, not in the north of England. And we're in a local town, and we're filming in a local town. And I was doing some magic in the bar at the end of the night, and I ended up, I don't know how this happened. I ended up back at a kind of house party. These people were like, "Oh, look, we've got to surprise you," and they kind of introduced me, like, "Hey, do some stuff." And like a lot of people in this house were like, "Who's this guy? Like, what are the girls bringing this guy in for?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, you do get that, and sometimes I've even lied in one of my very first tricks and given an offhand comment of like, "Oh, my girlfriend loves this trick," and then saying something like that, as if to say, "Guys, I have a girlfriend." I found that actually really diffuses guys' kind of menacing stares sometimes when they're absolutely in their head they're like he's there to steal the women here, which a lot of times.
I know that it's definitely true. That happens a lot too, and it's good to say that. I do the same thing. Like, oh, my girlfriend loves this trick. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And typically it's funny because in the past few years I've had a girlfriend, so it's true. But no matter what, they still think that. They still think there's an alternate motive or agenda that I'm gonna here to take your woman and show off. And even going to certain bars, you could feel that. Obviously, you got these alpha male dogs, and they're like, "Who's this super cool dude coming in doing magic, wooing all the girls?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I usually always try to just approach the guys first, so I become best friends with them, so they're not like in the back watching. And
Exactly.
it is a kind of push and pull like game where you're like, I got to get on their side in order to be on anyone's side because these guys are the alphas, and so I got to become best friends with them. And
Yeah.
a lot of the times I'll find out I won't be doing magic. I'll just be trying to kiss in their ass, and then I'll do magic.
Yeah. It's I've found as well that when I'm talking to a mixed group, when I've got say a group of 6 people with 3 guys and 3 girls, I will put 80% of my eye contact into the guys and 20% of my eye contact and attention.
That's good.
until you actually kind of have them on your side, and they appreciate what you're doing, they're having fun with you. Like, because if you put, I've seen magicians do this. I've seen magicians only put attention into the girls, and then you lose the guys, and that group will just walk away.
Right.
But yeah, these are just kind of the social dynamics that you start. You know, I made that mistake when I first started doing magic, like just trying to do magic to girls rather than doing it for guys. And I found that I enjoy doing magic for groups of guys more now. I don't know why that is, but it's like when you have a group of guys lose their shit, that is a wicked feeling. I mean, groups of girls lose their shit is great fun as well. But when in groups of guys, like, bro, that was amazing, you know, that's like a real buzz.
Yeah, I think there's probably that sense of camaraderie too. It's like, yeah, these are my bros. These are, you know, the guy. You're like, okay, I'm able to pull them in. And I think, you know, as cliche as it may be, that, you know, women react a little more and they're more emotional, and the guys want to hold back their emotions. But when you're able to open them up and they're like, oh, and they're just melting into that moment of astonishment, it's like, now we're on the same level. Now it's not like these walls between us anymore.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? I mean, it's the way that it breaks down barriers, and it breaks down social barriers very, very quickly. You know, you can literally go up to a group of like 8 to 10 people and just do something as quick as double cross, and all of a sudden you're just kind of in there with a group of new, cool, fun people. It's I'll never get bored of it. I find it kind of amazing when people say, "Yeah, I did magic for a while and I just gave it up." I'm like, "Well, what were you doing? Like, why?"
Yeah.
Why? Did you really?
How do you give that stuff up? I know I have friends that have retired too. I'm like, how do you? What?
Okay. What did you do? What did you do after it?
Yeah, it is interesting to see that, because I mean, I know no matter what, these guys that I know that have like retired, they still pull it out here and there, but they just have a different passion. I guess it's a different path. I mean, one of my friends just became a professional photographer and videographer, so that, you know, in a way, that's another form of magic. So totally, it makes sense.
Sure. I mean, in somewhere like you live in LA, right?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in LA?
I'm actually, well, right now I'm actually in Corona, oddly enough. Corona, it's Riverside, but I grew up all around like LA and Orange County, and then now I'm just trying to get out.
Mecca of magicians, aren't you? I mean, Las Vegas, LA.
Like,
for me, I mean, there is so many.
Spot.
So to be a magician in LA, there is a huge amount of competition, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I mostly worked down. I actually work more San Diego and Orange County, because when I even would work LA, for me it would be tough. I mean, I actually had to decline a lot of gigs because of traffic. that's how bad the traffic is. I mean, nowadays it's nice, but there's no one doing gigs. Yeah, so it's interesting. If I was to go back to LA and to work in LA, I'd have to really live in like the heart of LA to start performing more around there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
for me, there's a lot of things that I'm attached to, like the castle. I mean, you have these great communities of magicians. I almost I did get turned off from magic because I joined the Magic Castle as a junior member, and then it's 21 and up club. So I was like 19 and 20, and then 21. It just, the drama escalated and the egos escalated. And I was just looking around. I'm like, man, there's a lot of crazy narcissism here and egoic BS.
Yeah.
And I got really turned off from it. It was just a lot of like high school drama again that I never wanted. I was trying to evolve, and I thought I was coming into a better community. So I got turned off for a moment, and I took, I just kind of became mostly self-taught. I got into street magic, like busking. And that took me a whole nother path, and that's what got me back into magic, because I met these guys that were more real, more raw, more like adaptable more than anything. And I love that. And they were traveling and making a good living. I'm like, I want to do that. So that's what got me back into it. Because in reality, the magic community in LA kind of turned me off. But now, in the past couple of years, I've been coming back into it and appreciating it and loving the people, and, you know, working together, and just knowing that there's always going to be bad people in any community. Yeah. There's always going to be great people in that community. It's all about just finding those people, you know, and finding your little niche.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
but luckily I have that.
like you must have seen magician. I don't have Facebook anymore. It's one of the best things I've done is deleting it. But I used to be a member of a few magician groups, and just seeing like the bickering amongst magicians, and it's such a shame. Like, you know, we are a community, as you said, we are literally a community, and
Yeah.
there's like ego and bickering. I'm like, guys, you know, come on, we're all in this together. But the ego thing with magic, it's kind of like sometimes it's like, you know, when you're international DJs, they get people telling them how amazing they are all day long, and it's the same as a magician. And like,
Right.
and I've met a couple of magicians whose egos are absolutely through the roof, and it's so it's so off-putting because it comes
I
out
know.
magic. Or just this like, watch this, I'm gonna blow your mind, and it's just like, ah.
Just cringeworthy. Yeah. You're like, oh my
Was
goodness.
cringing, yeah, and it's something that Adam and I have spoken about at length. Like, you know, just keeping just like modesty and being humble, staying humble,
Yeah. Stay humble.
so so important. Because when you're being told all day long that it's amazing, it's amazing, you have to absolutely have to stay humble. Yeah. So I can imagine the egos in someone like the Magic Castle would be kind of nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely was. I mean, it's crazy because it's like it's such a cool place. You get people from all around the world. But then
Yeah,
you see the magicians with like the like it's mostly the locals there. Like, of course, there's some great people from all around the world that go there and perform there. But then
yeah,
you know the locals there, and they're like, a lot of them are like old, pretentious men, thinking
yeah,
that they know what's right, you know.
yeah. You should be
And
doing
yeah,
it.
so it's just kind of funny. I mean, and that's like really that's how it is even in family. I mean, you look at somebody, maybe an old grandfather or grandma, they're like, oh, you don't know, I've been on this earth way longer than you know, sort of attitude. And it's like, well, you giving up and saying that is like you're saying you're dead. Like, why not have room for evolution and always be growing until you are dead, rather than said I've been here long enough so I know it all. And
Yeah, sure.
that and that honestly, I've been staying with my grandmother, and I recognize that in my own grandmother, seeing her say this and kind of almost living like she's dead. Like, I already lived my life. I don't need to do anymore. I don't need to learn anymore. Like, I'll talk about stuff I'm learning about, just like a normal book, nothing to do with magic, and she'll just totally cut it off. I'm like, okay, never mind. You know, I thought it would be a cool story to share. She's like, nah,
Yeah,
I do it my way or the highway sort of thing. I'm like,
yeah,
all right. So
yeah,
it's just a huge variety. I mean, that's what I also love about LA. It's such a great variety of people here.
hmm
And
yeah.
sorry about that.
LA in is that right? Yeah, it glitched a little bit. In LA
Yeah.
in November, October. Yeah, around October.
Oh, yeah, this last November.
Yeah, that's November.
Nice.
Yeah, I was in LA, San Francisco, San Diego. Man, everyone has said to me
I love
that,
San Diego. That's kind of where I want to end up.
and I'm not surprised, bro. Like everyone said to me for years, they're like, "Have you been to San Diego? Have you been to San Diego? You'll love it. You'll love it. You'll love it." And finally, I went there, and I was just like, "All right, I get it. I get it. I get why everyone loves the place so much." I have one of my really good friends. He lives on Mission Beach, so I went and lived with him.
Oh, awesome.
Stayed with him, we were like right on Mission Beach. I was like, "This place, yeah, I get it." And I was there for a Sunday fun day, so I was just doing magic around the Sunday fun day bars while everyone was like watching American football. I was like, this is sick."
Man, I
So
wish I ran into you. You know, I was probably there around the same time. I mean, I've been working more in San Diego and staying there, and I would work at Balboa Park. In Mission Bay, I would actually stay there. You know, I have a RV that I would leave there. So it's funny that we're probably right in the same area at that same time.
oh
That's fun.
man, next time.
Next time, or next time, and you're in Barcelona right now. And
That's
that's
right.
one place I really want to go. I want to go to Madrid and Spain. That's definitely on my list.
Oh man, yeah. Like Barcelona is spectacular. I came here for a holiday, and then 6 years
I never
later,
left.
yeah, just never left. I totally fell in love with it. It's a spectacular city. It really
I love
is.
that.
Yeah. I love it. But who are your favorite magicians then? Who are your favorite mentalists?
So I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite. Um, but some of my favorites are Cellini, who's like the king of the streets, an old busker magician. He was a
Hmm
student of Slidini, and that's one guy I really look up to and learned a lot from through his books. And then more recently, you know, I'm also big fan of David Blaine and Darren Brown.
Yeah.
And yeah, those three right there are definitely up there. I love David Stone. Who else? Who else just come? I mean, you know, I've been studying a lot of. Everyone loves David Williamson, I feel like, and I do too. So I watch him a lot. Tom Mullica, I love Tom Mullica.
With the cigarettes.
Yeah, it's just amazing. That guy's character and facial expression it's just a joy.
With those big glasses.
Yeah. How about you?
I would say Oz Perlman is a big one at the moment.
Oz Perlman, yeah.
Oz Perlman is fantastic. I mean, as a performer, he's obviously.
He does a lot. He was one of the first guys that kind of got me into it too when I found out about Penguin. So I was really, appreciative for him.
Yeah, his two lectures are absolutely amazing, and it's where I learned a lot of my stuff from. The what's in the name with the name of someone that's in my wallet. You know, that's his trick, and it's probably I do that trick more than any. It's
honestly, I really like his approach because very similar in that he does great magic and then great mentalism, and it's just fused perfectly.
Yeah,
seeing him on AGT, how he basically took more of that mentalism route, and I thought it was great. You know.
Yeah, well, he does bill himself as a mentalist now. I've like to keep that magic side. I wouldn't call myself a mentalist. I would call myself a magician who does mentalism. Even though I do, when I'm performing at a gig, I would say I'm doing like 70% mentalism, 30% card magic, or what we call magic. Yeah, but with him, I mean, he's definitely more of a mentalist. But he's a really great brain as well. Lance Sinclair, you had Lance on.
Lance, yes. I love Lance.
Oh my God. Yeah, just absolute bromance to that guy, man. He's such a phenomenal brain. But also all his things about positivity and happiness and everything he posts is such a positive thing about the human spirit and about feeling gratitude. And it's really, really beautiful, man. I've spent, I spoke to him for like 3 hours, like a couple of days. It's nuts. Time just absolutely flies. He hypnotized me to give up smoking as well. So
yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long has it been then?
It's been like 5-6 weeks since I quit smoking. Yeah, and I don't even think about it anymore. It's crazy. We had one. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? No, I really think. I mean, that really shows you how magic, mentalism, and especially hypnosis is a great medicine and a cure. In a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
People kind of forget about that because I get a lot of questions about hypnosis, even though I don't do hypnosis. It's just in that field, right, with magic and mental magic. And people have a hard time accepting it, right? Because it's the truest form of magic. You're really going based on belief and suggestion, and you're just making that an agreement now with yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I have mad respect for what Lance does and the positivity. It's super inspiring, and to keep that going is what it's all about, I mean,
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, he sent me, I went and stayed with my mum for a few weeks at the start of this year, and I was like, man, I need some reading material. Can you send me some stuff? So he sent me a few books about hypnosis, and I started reading up about it, and I learned the script and all that kind of stuff, and I read a lot, and it's my plan to start doing hypnosis next. So I will do I've done magic, then I moved into mentalism, and then hypnosis it's like another arrow in the quiver, It's
that's really how it goes. It's like magic, mentalism, hypnosis,
Yeah, and it's Lance Donna really put me onto it. He was like, man, with your style of mentalism, it's an absolutely natural progression for you to go into hypnosis now. But I really want to do hypnosis, I do, but there's so much magic and stuff that I want to learn as well. It's constant, like, what do I want to learn next? Like, I told you, I've been learning Kimlet's Roadrunner card. Did you see when Kostya Kimlat fooled Penn and Teller with this card trick where they were like mixing the cards, some in face up?
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. That guy's insane.
Bro, when I saw that trick, it was like, that is the pinnacle of card magic for me. Like, I am going to learn that trick. And so I didn't sit there and go, oh, I can do that. But I worked out the kind of methods along it, and then there's one piece of sleight of hand which Kostya Kimlat teaches, and it is.
You've been studying the Roadrunner Call.
Exactly. Have you tried?
I have. That's on my little list of things because I think a Cole is one of the most greatest moves you could have for card magic. So
Yeah, so I've been doing that, Carl, for the last 4 or 5 weeks of this quarantine. Every day when I wake up, I sit and I listen to a Joe Rogan podcast, roughly 3 hours, and I
nice.
do Carl again and again. And so for about 3 hours each day, I'm
That's
constantly
good.
doing that Roadrunner, Carl. Like the hardest sleight of hand I've learned was maybe, you know, a shuffle like that, the one-handed shuffle, you know, something
Yeah.
like that. The hot shot cut, they took me about a week. This Roadrunner cut I've been doing for 5 weeks, and I'm still nowhere near performance
Right.
ready.
No, I've seen guys, and some guys have shown me. I'm like, how do you guys just like go through it so like nothing? And how they're able to separate, you know, all that however
Yeah,
they want. It's
yeah,
it's wild. And I mean, I have friends that do it with, and then they set up their deck for mnemonica, and I'm like, and they're doing it right in front of me or while they're performing, and I'm like, it really inspires me. And when I saw, actually when I got into Magic Castle, I saw a lot of people doing stack work and mnemonica,
hmm
and the work they were doing with it was blowing my mind. I was like, man. So in the back of my mind, and then that's like now 10 years ago, and now I want to put in that work because it's like I
yeah.
have the time to
Right.
do
But,
that.
but in the time to learn mnemonica, you, and Adam can bounce ideas.
Let's work together on this. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Because like I feel like mnemonica is one of those things that I've always said I will never learn that. I'll never learn that. I cannot be bothered to sit down and learn it. But
yeah, it
then
kind of
coming,
was like that too. Yeah,
is yeah, I just don't want to learn it. But then coming across Rick Lax's mnemonica, it makes it very achievable to learn it. And as I said, I have the
yes, the
worst.
Rick Lax then. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I don't know Rick Lax has a version of it.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's yeah, even a dumbass like me can learn this one. So yeah, it's yeah, I'm excited to do all the tricks that mnemonica can bring because I think it's like another level of card magic
It
when you
really
can
is.
learn a mnemonica stack and you can do that.
I've just seen so many, like probably hundreds of different variations of things with mnemonica through Magic friends, and I'm just like, damn you. But I
Yeah, bro.
love it.
Learn it, man. Me, you, and Adam can bounce ideas. That'd be
Let's
awesome.
do it. Yeah, definitely. And shout out to all the magician friends. What's up, CEO Magician? I know I've got about a minute and a half. We're counting down. Our hour went by fast. It's been
Wow.
such a pleasure, man. Let's see if I have any other questions. I think we kind of went through them all. You talked about, yeah, cool. I love free flowing and how we just kind of answer it all. That's kind of what I want it to be. I don't really want to be like put you on the spot. I just like to open it up when we get to it. So it's
Yeah,
been
man.
such a pleasure, man. Thank you for your time. Guys, check him out. James Fabulous. It's right here. We'll be sharing Alam's story and as well as the live. And check us out, Slightly Smoking. Magic Apparel, we're doing new stuff. I'm trying to work on some new designs and just connect and share the love of magic. So I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Peace, James.